Welcome back, creative makers. Today we're tackling something that can feel intimidating, sleeves. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to sew sleeves just like a pro. So let's get started. First, here's what you'll need. Your fabric and a pattern, pins or clips, a fabric marking tool, a sewing machine set to a straight stitch, and of course, your favorite sewing scissors. Please note, I'm going to be using my industrial machine for this, just so that you can see clearly what I'm doing, but you can use any sewing machine for this tutorial. Okay, let's look at the sleeve pattern. You'll notice that it's not just a tube. There's this big curve at the top. That's where there will be extra fabric, and we're going to gather that or ease it into the shoulder at the top. For a standard shaped sleeve, it's going to have 3 places to mark on your fabric. A single notch for the front, a double notch for the back, and then you'll see this circle that lines up with the shoulder seam. This is the top of your sleeve. If the sleeve has extra fullness at the top, you will also have 2 more circles showing where to work in the ease or gathers. Mark these when you cut out your sleeve. Let's sew the gather stitch first. Lock in your stitch at the beginning, then bring your stitch length to about a 4. Leave a little extra thread at the end to gather. Bring your stitch back to about 2.5 and with right sides together, sew the sleeve seam. At this point, I would be finishing the seam with a zigzag stitch or an overlock, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to press the seam open on the sleeve and on the top. Lay your sleeve and bodice pieces with right sides together, and then start pinning. First, pin the sleeve at the underarm seam, matching it up to the top side seam. Then pin the front and back notches. Line up the center top of your sleeve with the shoulder seam and pin that in place. Now you can pull that gather stitch to ease the rest of the sleeve in at the top. Pin the remaining underarm area so that the bottom of the sleeve is secure. Then gather and pin the top of the sleeve. You'll notice that I'm working on one side of the top center, getting it gathered and pinned. Then I'll do the same to the other side of the top. Gather it and pin it in place. Now you're going to sew this with the sleeve side up. Starting from the bottom of the armhole, you're going to sew around the top and then back down. I usually like to keep my left hand in between the sleeve and the top. That way I can feel the fabric and make sure there's no tucks or puckers as I'm sewing. I find this gives me more control as I sew curves like this armhole. And this way I can feel if there's any tucks in the fabric or if it's not laying flat. Go slow around the curves and remove pins as you go. Make sure you always backstitch at the beginning and end to secure your seam. Once your sleeve is sewn in, check for any puckers. If it all looks good, you're done. Now press the seam allowance toward the sleeve with an iron for a clean finish. You can finish the raw edge with a zigzag stitch or a serger to prevent fraying. I'm going to be showing different seam finishes in another video, so be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss that video. And that's it, you just sewed a sleeve. And if you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know what sewing tutorial you'd like to see next. Until next time, happy sewing!